Greetings, Landos and Gentle Sith. Steve Tassie, the board game guy here, and I am going to teach you another Star Wars themed game, which is officially called Risk Star Wars Edition. I say officially because that's the name Hasbro packaged it under, despite the game having nothing to do with Risk aside for six-sided dice and plastic pieces. Seriously, the theme, the mechanics, the board design, absolutely nothing about this game says Risk except for the packaging. Hasbro really screwed the pooch on this one because this excellent game sold poorly and is now out of print. They had a Star Wars property and thought, hey, you know what'll help this sell? Slapping the Risk name on it, despite there being already at least 3 other Star Wars Risk games on the market. They should have called it Battle of Endor or Return of the Jedi, the board game, and left Risk out of it. But I suppose it might have been a licensing issue. Fantasy Flight Games holds the Star Wars game license in North America, so maybe Hasbro had to slap some other property name on it to avoid legal issues. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. But enough of my ranting. Let's see how Battle of Endor is played. Battle of Endor is a 2-player game of the Rebel Alliance versus the Imperial Navy. There are rules for playing a team version with up to 2 players per side, but it was clearly designed to be a head-to-head game. The board looks like a TIE fighter, and while that may seem gimmicky at first glance, there's actually a legit reason for it. Battle of Endor is actually 3 games in one. The main game is the space battle between the Imperial and Rebel fleets. That takes place on the center board. The Empire is trying to obliterate the Rebel fleet, while the Rebel fleet is trying to get into the new Death Star and blow it up. But before they can do that, they have to win the mini-game where they get their ground troops to the shield bunker on Endor and destroy it, making the Death Star now vulnerable because it doesn't have the protective force field around it. Meanwhile, on the Death Star, Luke and Darth Vader are having it out once and for all to determine who gets to carve the turkey at the Skywalker family Thanksgiving dinners from now on. Winning Battle of Endor is a balancing act between managing these 3 elements. The Rebels will eventually reach the shield bunker, but if the Empire can eliminate the Rebel fleet before they do, then it doesn't matter. Whoever wins the lightsaber duel will confer great benefits to their side of the battle, so you can't ignore that aspect of the game either. To get set up, assemble the 3 parts of the board on the center of the table. The Rebel player should sit so that the lightsaber battle board is on their right and the ground assault board is on their left, and the 6 fleet tokens are slotted into the bottom edge of the main board. Give each player their unique deck of cards, their troops, and their tokens. Place the health tokens for the Millennium Falcon, the Executor, Darth Vader, and Luke Skywalker on their max health spaces. The Imperial player puts the Executor piece on the marked space on the main board and places 4 TIE fighters in each space indicated. The rest of the Empire's TIEs and the Grey Stormtrooper ambush tokens are placed in reserve for now. Shuffle the Imperial deck and draw 6 cards. Meanwhile, the Rebel player places the Millennium Falcon token on the indicated space on the board and puts 5 X-Wings, 4 Y-Wings, or 3 B-Wings on each similarly indicated space, including the 6 fleet tokens. Place the Rebel insignia token on the bottom of the ground battle track on the board to your left. Shuffle the Rebel deck and draw 6 cards. Put the dice somewhere that both players can easily reach them. If you happen to have 5 extra 6-sided dice lying around, well, then you can use those so that each player has their own set of dice and they don't need to share. You are now set up to play the game. Your action cards determine what orders you can give to your troops. Each card will have 2 or 3 different options on it, and you will play 3 cards every round. First, you will choose which 3 cards to deploy, and then each time you reveal a deployed card, you will choose which of the available orders on it to actually give. As the game progresses, some of your order options will become void. If the Millennium Falcon gets destroyed, for example, then you can't use the Millennium Falcon command order. The Rebel order options are 1. Move and attack with a squad of X-Wings. 2. Move and attack with a squad of Y-Wings. 3. Move and attack with a squad of B-Wings. 4. Move and attack with the Falcon. 5. Luke attacks Darth in the combat. 6, Luke redeems Darth. And 7, move your ground troops toward the shield bunker. The Imperial Order options are 1, deploy an attack or move an attack with a squad of TIE fighters, move an attack with the Executor, ambush the Rebel ground forces, Darth attacks Luke in combat, the Emperor attacks Luke with Force Lightning, or fire the Death Star's super laser. It is a fully operational battle station, after all. Each player will program 3 action cards in the order that they will be revealed. Then, starting with the Rebel player, they will take turns revealing and resolving 1 card at a time. Once all the action cards have been resolved, the round is over. The used cards are discarded, players fill their hands back up to 6, and program 3 new order cards for the next round. If at any point during a round the Death Star has been destroyed, the Rebel player wins. If the Rebel player ever has no ships and no fleet tokens in the main board, the Empire wins. Now we'll look at each of the 3 mini-games and the order options that relate directly to them. The Rebel Sabotage Team. The Rebel player has a token that represents Han and Leia's squad of Rebel saboteurs who have to blow up the shield bunker. When the token reaches the end of the track, the bunker is destroyed and the Death Star becomes vulnerable. Until that point, the Rebel fleet cannot do anything to the Death Star. Each of the spaces on the track to the bunker has a number from 2 to 5 printed on it. When the Rebel player orders the ground squad to advance, they roll all 5 dice and compare them to the numbers on the spaces on the track in front of the Rebel insignia. For each die that equals or exceeds the value of the next space on the track, the squad advances 1 space. The closer they get to the bunker, the harder it becomes to advance farther. Issue this order as early and as often as you can, but not at the expense of the other games. The Empire has 9 ambush tokens. When the Imperial player issues a ground forces order, they take 3 of their tokens and place them in the 3 spaces on the track directly in front of the Rebel squad. Each token has a +1 on it, making the space it occupies 1 number higher. There's little point in using your tokens too early in the game, as making a space on the track 3 instead of 2 is not really making the Rebels' job any harder, but turning a 4 to a 5 or a 5 to a 6 really does. The thing is, if you wait too long to ambush the Rebels, it's going to be too late. The Lightsaber Duel. In the Emperor's audience chamber, Luke and Vader are having it out once and for all. One of these 2 characters will die.
Now, young Skywalker, you will die.
Every time a player issues the lightsaber order, they roll 4 dice and reduce their opponent's health by 1 point for each die that rolls a 4 or higher. If that drops the enemy to 0 health, they are dead, and the victor is rewarded with bonus orders. More on bonus orders in a bit. Redemption. The Rebel player has a special order option on some of their cards. It's the Redeem Vader action. If Vader's health token is in the redemption zone, that is, they're at 3, 2, or 1 health, and the Rebel player plays the order to redeem Vader, Darth Vader turns back to the light side and throws the Emperor down the reactor shaft. Doing this increases the number of bonus orders the Rebel player gets for winning the lightsaber duel. Force Lightning. Not content to sit and watch, the Emperor occasionally zaps young Skywalker with lightning, reducing Luke's health by 2 every time that order is given. If you don't engage in the lightsaber duel and focus on the other elements of the game, your opponent will whittle your character's health down to nothing and earn some sweet rewards. The Space Battle. This is the meat of the game, and while the side games will help you in the space battle is where the game is won or lost. The Empire should focus more attention on this battle early, since the Death Star is indestructible while the shield is up, and they can do lots of damage to the Rebel fleet, if they roll lucky. The spaceport is divided into sectors, with the Death Star in the center. Only one player's ships may occupy a sector, but they can attack from their sector into an adjacent one. A player can have any mix of their different ship types within a single sector. The Rebel player starts with some fighters deployed on the spaceport, but many of their fighters are still in the hangars of their capital ships, as represented by the fleet tokens. Fire the super laser. When the Empire issues this order, they target one of the Rebels' 6 fleet tokens and roll 2 dice. If either of those dice are a 5 or a 6, then the fleet token, plus any fighters that are still on it, are destroyed. On a 1 to a 4, nothing happens. If all 6 fleet tokens have been destroyed, but the rebels still have fighters or the Falcon in play, this order can be issued to target a specific space sector, and on a successful roll, all ships in that sector are destroyed. Command the Falcon. When you order the Falcon, it can move up to 2 sectors. Sectors must be empty or contain rebel fighters. After moving or choosing not to move, you declare an attack on an adjacent sector and roll 2 dice. Ties get hit on a 3+, and the Executor gets hit on a 5+. If the shields are down and the Death Star is vulnerable, you can hit the Death Star with a 6+. Each hit to a TIE fighter destroys it outright and removes it from the game. Each hit to the Executor does 1 damage to it. If you destroy the Executor, all of the Empire's unlaunched TIE fighters are also destroyed. For this reason, the Rebel player will want to take it down as soon as possible, and the Imperial player will want to launch as many of their TIEs as they can before they risk losing the Executor. Command the Executor. When the Imperial player orders the Executor, it can move up to 1 sector, either empty or occupied by TIEs. The Empire cannot fly ships through the Death Star. Then they pick a neighboring sector and roll 4 dice. Each 3 or higher can destroy an X-Wing, 4 or higher destroys a Y-Wing, and 5 or higher can kill a B-Wing or damage the Falcon 1 point. They assign their damage as they see fit. Command a squad of fighters. The Imperial player only has TIE fighters to command, but the Rebel player has different action cards for each type of fighter in the fleet. When you command a squad of fighters, you move as many of that type of fighter as you like from 1 sector to an adjacent sector, or choose to leave them where they are. And then you can attack with up to 5 of that type of fighter from the destination sector. So you can move a single fighter into a new sector where it joins up with a bunch of similar fighters and then attack with all of them. X-Wings and TIEs are destroyed with an attack die of 3+, Y-Wings on a 4+, B-Wings on a 5+. The Falcon and the Executor also take a point of damage for each 5+ die applied to them. An unprotected Death Star is destroyed with a roll of 6. If the Imperial player commands a squad of TIEs, they can either move a group of fighters that are already on the board, or they may use the command to launch 4 new TIE fighters from the Executor into whatever sector the Executor is currently in. They may then attack from there. In the space battle, if your attack, whether it's fighters, the Falcon, or the Executor, eliminates the final enemy ship in a sector, you receive a bonus order. And that brings us to bonus orders. Certain accomplishments will earn you a tactical benefit in the form of bonus orders. When you receive 1 or more bonuses, take 1 card off the top of the deck, don't look at it, and place it face down after your last action in your program order. You receive 1 bonus order for destroying the last ship in a sector. The Empire receives 2 bonus orders for destroying the Millennium Falcon. The Empire receives 4 bonus orders for killing Luke Skywalker. The Rebel player gains 3 bonus orders for killing Darth Vader, or if Vader is redeemed and kills the Emperor, you get 5 bonus orders. Remember, Vader can only be redeemed if his health is at 1, 2, or 3 on his health track. The Rebel player gains no bonus orders for destroying the Executor. What they gain is the fact that no more TIE fighters can be launched. When each player has resolved their 3 initial programmed orders, if the Rebel player has any bonus orders, they resolve the first one, and then the Empire resolves one of theirs, if they have any, and back and forth until only one side has any remaining bonus orders, at which point they resolve all of the remaining ones one at a time. After the bonus orders have been resolved, a new round begins. That is assuming neither side has achieved victory. That's all there is to know in order to play Battle of Endor, aka Risk Star Wars Edition. I'm Steve Tassi, the board game guy, wishing you good luck, and may the Force be with you. Oh, hi. I'm here in the Board Game Guy kitchen just whipping up another batch of gaming-related content, so be sure to subscribe to my channel so you're notified when it's uploaded.